Today is 8.5. It was not fun. Not perfect, but it's good enough. I think it's been at least 8 months since I ran this long. Finished all my races last year, and today was supposed to be another record. Started the day off with, let's say, 80% successful run. It was more like a run like 70% of it and then die when it tells me that I have to run at 11-minute pace. Post run, it's like 2 p.m. right now, and I basically have potatoed for the last 2 hours between eating and showering, and I don't know how anyone else does it. When I come back from a run, I am so incredibly tired. I just took a quick nap after my shower and then was starving, so I had my little breakfast / lunch at 12. Editing my videos usually takes around 6 to 10 hours depending on the style of video. This one's for a vest that I just recently finished, and I'm so excited to capture everything and put it together, and hopefully it makes sense. Sometimes it gets really fun when it actually comes together and I don't just have a million shots of random parts of the process. She is on her way to getting done, but I have a little bit of lunch that I want to grab before I head out to the cafe, so gonna eat half of this now and then eat the rest of it for dinner later tonight. But I am exporting my video. I have been not great at remembering to bring my files around with me when I actually go to a cafe to work, so I'm finally remembering to do that. We are visiting a old cafe today, same as ones that you've seen in the past, 18.5 something something something. They have pretty good coffee and they let you stay there for as long as you want. I remember reading something online about cafe etiquette, how you should be ordering something every 2 or 3 hours, and I don't know if that makes sense to me, because if it's not busy, I don't really see an issue with just staying there and working with your 1 cup of coffee. But I don't know. Maybe I'm in it wrong. Someone can correct me if I really should be ordering more cups of coffee every 2 or 3 hours. That seems excessive. That seems like a lot of coffee. I work for long sessions. I don't know if I need 4 cups of coffee every time I go to a cafe. I could probably count on one hand how many times I've worn my crochet pieces out, and I am so happy that this is coming out with me today. It looks so cute. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. I do think it is funny that I will be editing the video to make this while wearing this. It's a perfect loop.
I don't like drinking coffee, but it's starting to grow on me a little. To be honest, I go to cafes more for the bit rather than actually liking coffee, but I get a ton of work done, and I do like trying out the unique flavors, so I think I accidentally became a cafe girly.
I thought I'd be able to finish editing the video while I was in the cafe, but I was in fact very wrong, because music and just generally editing takes so long. But we're getting there. I had my dinner and I am looking forward to another couple of hours of just knitting before I have to pass out in bed. I've also recently become a coffee person. I don't actually like coffee that much, but I think the vibes in the cafe makes it so easy to just work, because everyone there is to either chat, they're on a date, or they're working on things. And it makes it so easy to be in that environment as opposed to working at home and getting distracted with every little thing. I think for a little bit tomorrow, I also want to try working on this little capybara / bear duck costume situation. I don't know if I love how square the head is, or like the opening, but I think it's really cute. I think it has potential. I just need to work on it a little more. But the more I look at it, actually, the more it grows on me. I was just scrolling through Netflix trying to figure out what to watch while knitting, and there were so many options, but I always go back to the classics. We're watching Karate Kid tonight. I think I've probably seen this movie at least 3 or 4 times. I think my favorite scene is when they're playing DDR though, because it is such a good scene. The procrastination game can feel strong sometimes when there are so many things to do and you get overwhelmed and just spend an hour or two going on your phone instead of doing those things that would have taken 5 to 10 minutes. I need to eat, I need to brush my teeth, I need to edit my video, I need to make my thumbnail. That was me this morning. That's why it is 10 o'clock, even though I woke up at like 7:30 and spent the past hour getting some work done, but only after 2 hours of sitting there willy-nilly. Good thing most things don't actually have a deadline and that you can just tackle things one at a time. I will say though, sometimes, at least for the knitters and crocheters out there, my projects are always scattered around me. I can pick up a needle and a hook at any time and get started within 5 seconds. But then it actually starts becoming really stressful because I'm ignoring doing important things. God knows I can spend the entire day just knitting or crocheting and watching shows, but I would also feel in the back of my head just be like,
no, you have a video to edit, you have to meal prep.
So sometimes what I like to do is I literally shove all my projects in a bag and put it aside because out of sight, out of mind.
I realize I'm generally a pretty lucky person if my biggest issue is that I have too many projects that I want to work on. I have my complaining days, but I know I have it pretty good simply being alive and having all my limbs, so I always try to remember this when I'm overwhelmed. The thing that really changed my brain chemistry though was shifting from I have to I get to.
Honestly, when I get overwhelmed with a lot of like household and just self-care things of taking care of house and whatever, I double up on a lot of things. So potatoes in the oven, room is more or less clean-ish. I don't bake sweet potatoes a lot, but this sweet soy glaze actually worked really, really well. I think I put in soy sauce, mirin, and vinegar and sesame oil, and just putting that into the sweet potato, letting it broil for 2 minutes at 450 was delicious. And I also topped it off with some nice fancy Icelandic salt. I think I need to do this again. I'm still finishing up the movie from last night, and I love this one line from Jackie. They're just getting to the tournament right now, and Xiao is like, you don't know the rules? And Jackie's just like, of course I know the rules. You hit him. Don't let him hit you. Oh, yeah, you know what? You're not wrong. I'm not actually quite sure what I've been making. I know that I was trying to make a bear, and then it didn't really quite work out, so I think it turned into a capybara. You can see the sewing on the top. It was kind of inspired by MapleStory with the with the duck in the bear costume. I think it looks pretty cute. The opening might be a touch wide. I did a very quick rapid of decreases, which is why it kind of is doing like this situation. That's not really a bad thing, but I know that I don't love this pattern because the ears are not quite in line based on how I made the pattern. There's a bit of a gap here, which is not ideal. Not a bad first prototype, pretty cute. Pretty darn cute, I would say. I think if I did craft markets, this would be one of those things that went into the bin of things that didn't quite make it out of the craft room. I also know that I need a better system for putting together my pattern notes because I don't know what this mess is. It really doesn't give me enough room to mess up and put in new notes because I used another sheet and it just kind of looked like that. Definitely need to figure out a consolidated system for designing these things, but I don't know. I actually really like it. I think it has good potential. It just needs a little bit more refinement. If the diameter of my Mew top is around 13, let's say 13.5, my circumference is already at 40, and my waist is only 30, 31, 32, depending on how much I've eaten. Based on that, I actually think I need a size down from the medium sizing. Let's see if I need to make it extra small or small. The good thing about frogging when you make a mistake this far in the game is that at least you have your gauge swatch that you unintentionally made. After some deliberation, I think I'm going to make a size small. The reason why, and I don't know if this is a valid concern, I don't know how I'm gonna get it over the top of my body or the bum of my body. If I can't get it over either or, that's gonna be an issue, and both the top and my bottom are more than like 40 inches maybe, and according to my calculations, making a small will get me around 39 inches. So I think that's good enough. This is shocking because I'm not a size small anywhere. Like maybe 5 years ago I was a small. I have since then grown a little bit, and we're just going to hope that this is not too small. If anything, I'll try to stretch it out a little bit. If it ends up being too big, I can add an elastic. You know, it's only after taking it off that I realize how much the going in the wrong direction affected me, because you can evidently see how tall one row is compared to the other. These gaps, they're not it. I cast it on 135. I need 144. Or was it? I need 144. I don't know a thing about estimating how long to leave your cast on, because guess which of these tails is my working yarn and which was my remainder of my cast on yarn. Why is it so long? Why is it still going? How did I estimate so much? At least now I can finally get started, and in a week's time, we will see, well, hopefully we won't see, we'll know that we'll have a great ribbing for the base. I've made a little bit of progress on getting the top casted back on. I'm very excited to see how the tension's gonna be because I'm trying out the twisted pearl stitch this time, and people say that doing the back leg pearl twisted stitch after you do your knit stitch helps tighten up your tension a little bit, which hopefully this works out. Something about the pearl architecture, basically the pathway, it uses less yarn, so it looks a little less lumpy, because I definitely noticed how lumpy my last one was. This weekend wouldn't be complete without a random call from friends asking if I wanted to get bubble tea at 9 o'clock at night, so all in all, a pretty great weekend. For a bonus, I actually did my skincare for once. I'm not great at doing it all the time, but better something than nothing. I also can never remember to actually close out my vlog, so that's all for tonight. See you in the next one.